Good morning, everyone. And we do a lot of eagerly awaited interviews, but this is a great one, isn't it, Nico? We've got the legend's son returning to South Africa.
Yeah, he's a legend in waiting, I think. And it's our great pleasure to be interviewing Mathew De Kock today, because the news obviously has broken all over the place, Joe, that he's back in South Africa as soon as they get their paperwork sorted out. So great to see you, Matt. I think we last spoke, I think when you were departing, with mixed emotions when you were leaving, but welcome back, effectively, in more ways than one.
Yeah, thanks, Nico, and thanks, Joe, for having me on the show. And I already feel like home just sitting here having a conversation with you guys. So really, really looking forward to it and can't wait for the next year.
It's going to be brilliant, isn't it? I'll get going. I've got two very important questions. Matty, I'm looking at the stuff behind you. Had you chosen golf, would you have had more trophies?
Definitely wouldn't have had more trophies, that's for sure. I think I would have landed up cleaning clubs, maybe.
That's a hard graft. That's a grind, huh?
Yeah, that's a very, very tough industry. But the beauty of not having chosen it is I can still play it socially as well as have a profession like training racehorses.
Yeah. Next time I see you face to face, I'm going to tell you what we do here in the UK with developing golfers. And Nico, just so you know, I know players that are one level below the DP that are sharing a bedroom with two other guys just to save money.
Yeah.
It's really
absolutely
hard.
To try and crack it.
Yeah, to save money. So it's a hard graft.
It's a cutthroat industry.
My second leading question or whatever is, are you coming back as De Kock and De Kock? Are you coming back as a member of staff? I've in my lifetime, I've seen Sid Laird hand over to Alec and all of these things, PK hand over to Dean, but then we've seen Mike and Adam train together. You've tried that in Australia. How is it breaking news or is it not decided?
No, it's decided. We're going to start off in a partnership, the MDK squared, and we'll go as a partnership as long as Dad wants to have his name there. And in the foreseeable future, he'll be ready to retire, and then his name will fall away, and it'll just be my name.
Okay, cool.
The interesting landscape here is obviously the operators, with Greg Bortz taking over Cape Town and forming Cape Racing. Now the Hollywood Bortz venture in Natal, and then For Racing, Continue Racing in Joburg and PE. So the interesting move, I suppose, was when your dad sort of sold up in Joburg and has now moved down to Durban. So the question remains, will you still keep the 2 yards going, and where will you be positioned? Will you be stationed here in Joburg, where I'm speaking from, obviously, or in Natal? What are those thoughts doing the rounds?
At this stage, we've got all options open, Nico. We haven't cemented anything, but the way it's looking is that I'll probably head up Joburg and the old man will head up Durban.
Whoa, a little bit of respect.
And it's not unforeseen that we could have a little yard in Cape Town as well. So I have a desire and a hunger to come back and win a trainers championship and keep winning it. So I'm gonna go all out as hard as I can, get as big as I can and as strong as I can.
Perfect. And no highlights in the hair. No highlights in the hair, please.
No, I'll leave that to the Cape boys.
Joe, just a quick one. You've had horses with Mike.
I've got horses with Mike.
Yeah, but I'm saying you've had and you've got horses with Mike. But I mean,
with Matty as well.
You've done extremely well with him too, and you're pretty happy there. It's a place where, and I mentioned this. I'm not trying to butter up for any favor here, Matt. But I mean, at the end of the day, people want runners in Group 1 races, they've got to go to a particular trainer in South Africa. You stand a better chance of going to get a Group 1 winner. I'm not saying a runner, a winner. You've got to go to a certain place. Joe?
Nico, so every trainer that trains Group 1s all over the world tell you that this horse is really easy to train. It trains himself, or she trains herself. Yeah, listen, Mike's, he's the only guy who's done me 2 Group 2s and a Group 1. So it'd be hard for me to say anything different. What I will say is, what I like about Mike is there's a plan. And funnily enough, for me, the Group 1s aren't as important as the journey. And Mike's delivered on the plan on every horse I've ever had with him. And I think that's key. I think if I'm going to criticize, I think a lot of people look at the nominations for next week and then the week after and then the week after. Whereas I think Mike looks at the horse and says, right, this is where I want to be in a year's time, and then works back. And I think that's a big factor of having horses there. So I'm hoping Matty will agree that that's something that he's learned, or that's something that they observe. I don't know. But he's very good at that, Mike, planning a horse's career.
Yeah. Now, I met Matt way back when there are 2 particular individual horses that I sort of met Matt close up. And that was Igugu. And of course, when Vercingetorix first came into the ring in a maiden plate at the Vaal, I don't know if you remember, Matt, Paul Peter had a favorite in the race, and Vercingetorix came into the parade ring, Joe. And I said to Matt, while it was parading, I said, is this the next champion? Is this a Group 1 winner? And it was in its first run, and it was against an odds-on Paul Peter favorite. And Matt turned around and said, Nico, how can you say that? It's having its first run. Well, the rest is history, as they say, because he's now champion sire and he's gone places. But Matt, just quickly, so your dad's got horses here. You've been over to Oz. You've sussed out the scene there. My main question to you on this program today, what I want to get out of you, you know now, okay, the landscape there. You know the landscape here, and you know what horses your dad has currently got here. If you had to take some of the better ones from here right now, you got into a plane right now and went back to Australia, would you be really competitive with them?
I think so, Nico. And I've always been of that opinion that our horses from a mile upwards to 2,000, around that distance range, I think our proper Group 1 weight for age horses will be competitive anywhere in the world. And I dreamed when I moved over here 4 years ago, I left behind Awam, Sukrat, Queen Supreme. They were all in the yard. I was working with those horses when I left South Africa. And I came here, watched the racing, and I was saying to myself, how nice would it be to be competing with those horses here? Because I strongly believed that they were good enough.
Interesting. Matthew, when you arrived, how many boxes did you take and how many more are you bringing back? Are you a hoarder?
So, yeah, we joke about it, actually. So when myself and Monique arrived, we came with 2 bags each. We've moved houses 4 times in 4 years. Now, for us to move a house, it takes a 10-ton truck to move our furniture. But I'll tell you, we'll be returning with only 2 bags again. I'm not bringing anything back except what I need, and we're going to start fresh again. So, yeah.
So you've had the epiphany at this age, because I'm 55 and only now have I started to throw shit away, because I arrived with 1 bag and I went from 1 bag to 2 trucks to move.
Yeah.
My last move was 1 truck, and my next move will be not 1 truck. Yeah, it's hectic, eh?
But hang on, you're arriving with an extra body too.
2 bodies.
A couple of them. Yeah.
The family has grown, which is great, and the De Kock dynasty will continue for years to come. I mean, how has that been to start a family now? You've been married, you've started a family, you've got 2 kids. How's all that going?
Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Nico and Monique is too. Liam, he's 2.5 now, and he's really active, keeping us extremely busy. He has all the energy that my dad has, unfortunately. He really tests us. He's got a lot of character, but it's good. I love it about him. He's a strong-willed son and loves his sports, especially loves his racing already. He puts the jockey silks on, rides his Rocky Horse. So nice. Father-son relationship with him has been so special to me, and to see my dad with him as well, and my mom and Monique's mom as well, has been really, really special. And now obviously having Olivia 4 weeks old, that's all going to grow and get better. So really, really been great.
Are you going to be one of the modern day trainers? So, because you're much younger than myself, so are you going to take 3 weeks off a year? And just, do you know what I mean? Are you going to have that capability and still be champion trainer with your De Kock squared? Because I've only had one horse with the Crawfords, but I was so impressed when I heard that James has shut his yard down for a month. Nico,
2 months.
However long it was, I cannot tell you how impressed I was with that. Because, man, this whole mental health, it really gets to me. And I interviewed Donovan Mansour recently, and I had a really profound conversation with him about this whole thing. Where do you sit? Are you okay with that? And let's say Dad's retired already, eh? So you don't have that whole structure in place. Are you okay with that?
There's certainly a time and a place for that, for sure. And owners have to respect that of their trainers, because the trainers are not robots. And it is a stressful job, and we're all trying our best. But definitely, as with any athlete, whether it be a coach, a player, everyone needs some sort of a switch off at some point. And the key to that is putting in the right staff members that are capable of handling things whilst you're away. But being a trainer, you can be away, but you're kind of never away. So even if you're on holiday for 3 weeks, you know, in our industry, there's racing every day. So if you're on holiday, undoubtedly, you're more than likely going to have a runner. So you're still going to watch, you know, and be involved. But that's a great concept of like Hong Kong, where they force you to take a rest. They switch off and force you to take a rest. But Joburg and Durban, you can plan around those things. So I think, yes, I would like to do something like that. I need family time, but it'll be, you know, well implemented. And I suppose when I'm with my dad now, it'll be far easier if he could just step in whilst I'm away.
Mathew, I'm a big believer in technology, and we use Arianio. We have done for 6 years now. Just re-implementing it with some of my trainers in South Africa. There's quite a pushback in South Africa on tech. Where are you on that?
I love technology. I'm young, so I've grown up with technology, and I think it adds a beautiful dimension to your training. It's a great tool, and it's something which is also nice for an owner to receive an update with an e-tracker report or an Ariana report saying your horse, with all the stats, galloped over a mile this morning, ran home in this time, did this heart rates, recovered in this fashion. It's all good, and it's nice to explain to people as well. And I've seen it a lot here in Australia. It's very, very popular, and it's cutting edge. And science is got to be a part of any athlete's program these days. So I'm definitely going to be bringing back a few. I'm a fan of the e-tracker, which is another form of it. Yeah, it's very similar to Ariana. For me, it's more durable. We've used Ariana before as well. I enjoyed it, but I'm more of a fan of the e-tracker.
Okay. Last season, you guys had your best season ever. 74 winners.
In Australia, is it?
Yeah, in Australia, yeah. The guy who won the thingy, Kieran Marler, this one's banging in over 200 winners a season. Does he have that many more horses? Is that?
Yeah, the big stables here are on another level. It's amazing. It's amazing to see.
I know the odds already.
Yeah.
How many horses does Kieran have?
I don't want to guess. I don't want to guess online and put it out there and get it horribly wrong, but it's upwards.
I'll go with 400.
It's upwards of, it's definitely upwards of 400. I was going to say it's upwards of 500. They've got, I think Kieran would have 6 to 8 different centers where he's training horses. So it's a massive operation. I know, let's say Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott, they go to the yearling sale and they have a target of 120 yearlings every year and 20 international imports every year. So they're getting 140 brand new horses every year, and they're not buying them under the average price. They are buying them the premier horses. So the organizations here are the strong organizations are so superior.
But just talking about racing over there, it is strong in every sense of the word, in terms of the coverage, in terms of the publicity, the standard of horses, and basically amongst the Australian culture. Everyone knows something about it.
Yeah, it's an awesome industry to be in here. Like you say, everyone knows something about it. Most people are watching racing on the weekend. You go to a pub, a barber, in the shop, the racing's on the TV. So it's extremely popular. As you know, Melbourne Cup's a public holiday in Melbourne. So it's very competitive environment. There's in Victoria, which is my state, there's over 800 registered trainers.
Mental,
800 registered, just in my state.
Just shows you also what it does for people whose grandparents went to prison, how well they can reform.
Yeah, we won't talk too much about that, but yeah. But that's, if you have a winner on a Saturday here, if you have a winner in a Saturday meeting, it feels like you've won a feature race back home. Like that's the level of competition that there is out there.
It's hot, yeah. Mathew, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story, then I'm going to ask you a question. My dad had a brother. His brother worked for the same company, lived in Portugal his whole life, worked for the same company for 37 years. My father went to India, went to Africa, two people from the same family. You've traveled now, okay? And I believe once you've done that, there's things you can't unsee, right? How hard are you going to find it to not put your head up above the parapet when you get back to South Africa? Because we've painted the walls, but we've got problems there. Like, we have got problems. Are you going to have to get involved at some point? Because you've seen stuff, you've got ideas. Do you want them to listen to you, or are you just going to go back and train, man? Because unless we get young people like you saying, listen, this is what I've seen, and they start listening, Nico, like, have to listen. You know, they don't listen to us old fogey keyboard warriors anymore, but here's a guy who's been abroad. He's telling you that he can't even go for a haircut without the racing being in the... I mean, that's what it boils down to, right? We need to get the sport, and we need to get the masses engaged. Are you going to be... I'm not saying run for Congress or whatever, but are you going to have an opinion?
Have a dip.
Well, first and foremost, my main focus when I get home is going to be on the stable and focusing on getting my business running and going. And if people want to ask my opinion on things, I'm happy to share it, no problem. But I'm not going to force anything on anyone. And if I do see something, I'm always outspoken. My dad's taught me to stand up for what you believe in. And if I see something out of place or something that I think can be improved, I've always offered my opinion, whether it's listened to or not. There's no point complaining about things if you don't have the solution. So I'm happy to help out wherever I can.
It's a great country to race in. I love racing there. You know, I mean, let me tell you how appalling it is over here now. We had a race the other day at Exeter, turned out to be a walkover. Okay, a £40,000 race was a walkover. 3 races earlier, they were racing for 3,000.
Is it just the expense? What is it? The expense of the horses now? What?
That's the expense, the prize money, the ground conditions. We are really falling foul of the whip. I mean, we had a situation here in one of our biggest races where the horse hits the line, it wins the race. Everything happens. The guy holds the trophy. The punters get paid out. The jockeys hit 1 over, he gets demoted. The guy runs second, wins the race, but that only happens 4 days later. So the punters have done their money in cold blood. You know, I read in the Sporting Post, why are there no Gauteng Raiders to Cape Town? And I've written something, they haven't published it yet, but why would I send Wahi to Cape Town? I don't even know if he's going to get into the race. He might fail his TCO2 half an hour before the Guineas or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like we've got serious issues that we need to address that don't make the product user-friendly. I think that's the biggest thing. We all want rules and regulations, but Australia just seems to be user-friendly. Less barriers.
Yeah, it's very user-friendly. And I think all that needs to happen, and it already has happened, like Mr. Bortz and Justin and Fundi and Colin Gordon, they all came over here during the Asian Racing Conference to have a look. I think more of that needs to happen. People need to come and see industries that are working well and come and steal ideas from them and take them back home.
Yeah, 100%.
I wanted to ask a key question here, which we haven't touched on. They say behind every great man is the woman behind it. Okay, now your mom has been instrumental in bringing up the youngsters in your yard, and she's been a great part of the success. And sometimes she's not mentioned as much as your dad and yourself. Now she's been a key part of it. Where does she fit in going forward? I mean, she's also now probably wanting to retire. But my point is, firstly, on the woman's side, Monique and your mom, where do they fit in?
Great question.
Yes, yeah, it's a great question. Putting me under pressure, I'm starting to sweat.
Yeah, you better be careful how you answer this, man. There's lots.
My mom has obviously been a fantastic part of the team, a very important cog in the wheel, and she's developed her team with Vivian and the barn that's still there, and Rikes and still functioning, you know, doing the job. So that's probably going to continue with my mom overseeing it. She's obviously also, like my dad, wanting to just take a little bit of a step back. And so it's just going to evolve slowly over time that maybe someone will take over the reins. Monique, obviously, you know, she's also a fantastic horsewoman in her own right. Head assistant to Sean Terry for many years before she came here. And now that she's had the kids, it's been a little difficult for her to continue working in the horse industry as such, in the mornings, etc. So it's the option's always going to be there for her if she wants to step back into the yard, but there's no pressure on her to step back into the yard, and we're just gonna go home, settle in. Obviously, I'll go back to work as normal as a trainer, and when Monique's ready to do whatever she desires, then she can happily do it. But her first job is going to be looking after me and the kids.
Yeah. Well, you see, the main reason I asked that question is because several times over a drink or more than one with your dad, and especially in the COVID times when we seem to race together quite often at the racecourse, I often asked him and posed the question to him, Mike, you've had all this international success with a particular recipe. Your stables were based in Johannesburg, and you had this network of people in Joburg, and it worked. You know, you could raid around the world, have your Dubai operation, but your epicenter was Joburg. You had your wife, you know, in the nursery, bringing the horses through. Why would you want to change something that has worked? Don't fix something that's not broken. So that's why I was a bit worried when he was going to Durban to train in Durban. I was saying, well, I hope you're not leaving here, Mike. No, I'm not leaving there, Nico. I'm not leaving there. And now this news is great because it reaffirms the position which I've been trying to say. I mean, I'm no trainer, but just from a pundit's point of view and from an analyst's point of view, this worked. It will still work. And now it'll probably work better because there's young blood being pumped in. So that's the reason why I asked that question, because I really thought that your mom was integral to the whole operation.
Yeah, she is. And like I said, the team is still there. The skeleton is there. The systems are there. So that's not going to change. And like you said, I'm coming back, slotting into that role in Joburg, and it'll be business as usual and hopefully better.
Okay. So to become champion trainer, what do you need? What do you guys need to do? Do you need to grow the operation numbers-wise?
Yeah, it's a numbers game. If you want to be winning the championship, you need numbers, strength in numbers for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, sure. We've got a lot of challenges ahead, I think, because we're not breeding as many horses as we used to. We've got some very key big players in South Africa at the moment. But Mike's got a great string at the moment, and you're coming back to some really good horses as well, by the way. I'm sure you follow. This horse, Greatrix, looks above average. Heavenly, what's it called? Heavenly Boy or something. Heather's Boy.
Heather's Boy.
That looks special.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. So, Mathew, when are you coming back, roughly?
So I will finish up training towards the end of December. And then I will make a trip back just on my own in January. And then probably the family, I'll come back and the family, hopefully we'll all move back by February, be settled in, fully settled in February, March.
Okay, cool.
My final question before we go is there's a matter of the Summer Cup and a probable 10th, maybe 10th. I mean, your dad's been trying for 10 for a while. He's on 9 Summer Cups. Where were you, by the way, when Evening missed one? Were you bored?
No, he wasn't.
No.
Okay. You remember that, Joe? Evening missed.
100%.
Yeah. So you weren't born yet. So that was when he was starting to win Summer Cup. So he's going for 10. Do you think he can do it? What are your thoughts on the Summer Cup?
Yeah, Summer Cup's a tough race because it's a handicap, and probably our best horse, Dave the King, is not a handicap horse anymore. So something is going to have to stand
you got
up,
Silver Sanctuary. They're backing Silver Sanctuary if they know the result.
She ran well the other day, and she's probably the right horse from the stable. But there's no reason why I can't do it, Nico. No reason. Yeah. But I want to win another July for him first.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the goal, huh?
July is extra special, I reckon. That's
a great race, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great race. Okay,
as long as you don't try and get on the horse like your dad did, it's fine.
For our viewers that have stuck it through right till now, just give us 3 for them to follow in Australia.
3 for them to follow. Well, actually, there's a really nice race day coming up on Saturday, which is the Cranbourne Cup Day.
Yes.
And the main race is the Cranbourne Cup. We don't have a runner this year. We actually won it 2 years ago, which was a fantastic day for us. But there is a slot race on the day called the Meteorite. And the slot race is worth $1 million Aussie dollars, so 12 million rand.
Okay.
And we have a runner in it, Ray Magnerio. And he is a very, very good chance on the day. And on the same day, we have Nation's Call, who is an Irish import we bought from Dermot Wild.
Okay.
He's had 6 starts here, 3 wins, 2 seconds and a third, so he's going very well. And I think he'll win on Saturday as well. So there's 2 for you. And the third one is one to follow maybe in 2 weeks' time, a filly called Heat Missile. She is owned by Mrs. Rupert, Larry, Mr. Barber, and my old man. She's at 1 start for a second the other day, and she should be hard to beat next start. Heat Missile.
Heat Missile. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
Good.
There's 3 to follow.
I thought we were done, but you've triggered something. So for 20 years, I've been championing the horses in training sale at Newmarket. My good friend Gary Bates and Dr. Roberts were taking horses to Australia. A lot of Australians come and purchase horses there. You've said you purchased a horse from Uncle Dermot. That's turned out to be okay. I was just there 2 weeks ago with Nigel and with Willem Ackerman and with Paul Peter, and they got 3 horses. Is that something we should be doing more of, South Africa?
I don't see why not, Joe. I mean, the only probably negative is you're bringing them back to South Africa. There's not much stake money, but people race for fun and pride these days as well. So I don't see why not, especially now that travel's a bit easier. We should definitely be doing it. And I mean, a big thing that they're doing here is buying broodmare fillies in training overseas and bringing them here and racing them and then putting them to stud. So that's also a great option for breeders.
I mean, They bought a no-name ever sprinter rated 107 for 40 grand. I mean, you know, obviously these horses come footstoots, but
yeah,
it's been very successful to Australia, Nico. You wouldn't maybe be aware of this, but the Australians do come and buy a lot of middle distance horses.
Well, as I said to you, the Waterhouse stable aim to buy 20 imports every year.
Yeah.
Because you'll see all the races here over 10 furlongs and more are all imports.
Yeah.
None of them are, hardly any of them are Aussie breds.
Yeah. And that's a different mindset, isn't it? Because South Africans, we almost like, oh, our best horses are leaving. But if we have the mindset that some leave and some come, and we trade, horse trading, funnily enough, that's what they call it, that can only be good for the sport. And that happens quite a lot here, and it happens a lot in the States and in Australia. Buying and selling horses, moving horses around is actually good for the industry. Yeah.
But the other thing is, you know, Joe, so just the other thing is, I mean, if you go back over time, I mean, Mike used to go to most international sales. He was all over the place. He was hardly home going to sales. We had Terence Millard, the late Terence Millard, traveling extensively. A lot of trainers went over to buy horses.
No, we bought horses in Argentina, Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we stopped doing that. There's definitely been a downward trend in that. But maybe some of these younger guys can reinvigorate the onus. Maybe it's a lack of onus. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you obviously got to spend 23 times more than you would be spending in Joburg, you know? You know?
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Matthew, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you soon. Nico, all the best.
Thank you so much.
Viewers are going to be delighted with this because everybody's really excited to see Mathew back in South Africa.
Yeah. Well, we'll catch you over a beer when you're here sussing the place out in January.
And I'll see you Saturday, Nico.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you guys.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. Cheers.